Hello, family. We're at Just That Honey Tea Company, a wonderful cafe and retail shop in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with Auntie Carolyn Watson, the founder of HOME, which stands for Helping Oppressed Mothers Endure. How are you doing today, Auntie Carolyn?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing, Miss Bailey?
I'm doing amazing. I just want to say thank you for coming to share with me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's my honor. And, of course, an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
I'm very excited.
Me too.
So the auntie concept is the dynamic between an aunt and her niece as they have a generational conversation over tea. The tea is meant to represent the bridge between the young and the old, and the young sitting at the feet of their elders and learning from them.
How wonderful is that? I absolutely love that concept.
Yes.
Because, you know, in today's society, we need both aunties and we need youth like yourself to be able to pour into. So thank you for receiving the wisdom and the knowledge of
I'm very excited
from an auntie.
Yes, so I'm very excited to see what I can receive today.
Yeah, well, I'm proud to be an auntie.
Yes. Okay, would you like to pour some tea?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
So today we're drinking Strawberry Kiwi by Just Add Honey. And it is a beautiful...
Nice and hot.
Yes. Hot tea is the best. It's a beautiful hue.
Can I pour you enough?
Yes. Okay, so we'll be using sugar cubes or honey.
I'm going to have sugar. How about you?
Same here.
Awesome. 1 or 2?
I'm going to do 2, please. Thank you so much. And how many would you like?
I would like 2 as well.
Okay.
It's already desired.
Yeah, that's why I really love the sugar cubes. Because you can use anything to sweeten your tea, but when it just makes that, when it already starts dissolving, like the moment you put it in,
right.
I think it's just so cool. Okay, like that. Okay, so can grab this.
Are you sure I gave you enough tea?
Yes, of course.
I don't want it to just too sweet. How cool is this?
This is so good. Yeah, this is awesome. It's wonderful.
Now, I've never had strawberry kiwi. Is that what drinking? And
Strawberry kiwi.
I love to try new things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's choose it. Let's do it. Oh.
This is why this is my favorite. This is a delicious red hue strawberry tea, everyone.
Yes.
If you come to Just Add Honey, this is the tea. So my first question is, how do you remain poised and graceful at all times, no matter the circumstances?
Oh, what a great question. Well, that's let me think about that for a second, because, you know, one of the things I guess I will say is that I always want to, you know, what others see is important, and it starts with the first impression, and that's my image. And so I want to be someone who looks in the mirror and likes what they see, you know, and part of that staying poised and, you know, staying put together, and not just outwardly, but inwardly, is important to me, because I have children and grandchildren that I want to see. I want them to see that this is this is what the world sees. When you walk out the door, it's about first impressions, and you never get a second chance to make the first impression. So I believe in always looking your best, being your best, feeling your best, even on days when you just don't feel like it. You know, when you think about your purpose in life, which goes far beyond you as an individual, then you put things in perspective and say, okay, this is what the world sees, and this is what I want to leave in the world. And so it's kind of like my grandchildren when just like I recently left a sweater over to my daughter's house, and they were looking at her and said, whose sweater is this? Because it was a house full of people. And my granddaughter, who's 22, her name is Tiana, she actually picked up the sweater and smelled it. She said, oh, this is Nanny's sweater. So it's kind of the same thing. I want to be kind of identified by, you know, just, you know, what I am meant to be and what I present to the world. So that's kind of what my concept, that's my thoughts, you know, to always be my best, even when I don't always feel my best.
Yes, because when you don't feel like it, you have to practice it.
That's right.
In order to be good or to do something well do anything really, you have to practice.
You do. And that's
Put it into, you have to apply it.
That's right. And that's an everyday thing. You just can't do it today and think, oh, I don't have to practice it anymore. It's an everyday coming into who you're meant to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
They commit to be meant to be. Okay.
Yes. Well, let me add something to that, because I think this would be a perfect time to show you what I brought you today.
Okay.
Because I was looking at your videos and I noticed that you always had a little pin on your, on your lapel or on your blouse or whatever you had on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking last night in my jewelry box, just looking for something, what kind of earrings I was gonna wear. And I ran across something that I used to always wear. I used to always wear it to church. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna bring this to Bailey as a gift.
Wow, and so beautiful. Thank you.
And when I saw that, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of you, because while you're not what you're going to be, today you're not what you're going to be. But tomorrow, the sky's the limit. You're what a beautiful butterfly represents. You know, a butterfly doesn't start out as a beautiful butterfly, and you already know that because you're intelligent like that. So I know you already know. So this represents not what you are today, but it's what you're gonna be. And so stay focused, and it goes right into that poise and that charisma that we just talked about, because you're a gift to the world.
Thank you so much. And this is a beautiful gift. So gold is actually one of my favorite colors. So
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. This is so beautiful.
And I used to wear that all the time. And then I realized, it's been years since I've worn it, so I'll just share it with Bailey since I
That's so nice. Thank you. I will definitely wear this.
Great.
I'm actually going to put it on now.
That'd be cool. How about I do the honors?
Thank you so much.
All right. And we can keep talking while I'm a little old lady, so I can't always see that well. Which side do you want to put it on?
I'd love to side if you let it.
Yeah. You want it straight, or you want it slanted as if it's in flight?
In flight.
Okay.
Let's have it in flight. That sounds nice.
Wonderful. This is going to be so cute on your jacket. Thank you for being willing to wear it right now.
Of course.
How about that?
Yes.
How cute.
It adds perfectly. It goes so well.
It does.
Meant to be. Meant to be, yes. And to celebrate, I was drinking some tea.
That's right. Freak to it. To what you'll become, what you are becoming. Yes, that's right.
Okay. Now, I do a lot of things to have fun. I love to roller skate. I love going to the playground. I like going to trampoline parks. So I do many things for recreation and to have a good time. What were some of the fun times that you had as a child, and what did those times teach you?
Oh, well, I used to love to swim, and it taught me how to survive in the water. And one of the things, probably my all-time favorite, is writing. I'm a writer. And I have been writing since I was 15 years old.
Wow.
Because as a child, I was very introverted. You know, I wasn't really outgoing. You're a far cry from, the way I used to be, because I used to be really, really quiet, and I always observed people. I was always a people watcher, but I didn't really like to talk much. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up in a home where, unfortunately, my dad, unfortunately, was an alcoholic. And so there was a lot of dysfunction in the home. But one of the things that God gave me is the ability to write. So the things that I couldn't speak about, I was able to write about. And I began to write poetry. Mm-hmm. Poetry is what saved my life, because I was able to articulate in writing what I was not able, as I mentioned, to speak. And since then, I've been blessed to write 13 books. Yes. And so my first 2 were books of poetry. And then over the years, I started to develop relationships with publishers. And so I've co-written several books. I've just finished a devotional of 10 volumes of that. And then this year, I'm releasing a book that it's called Love is Intentional. And
that's
so
beautiful.
25 years of writing. Wow. I'm most excited about this. So even in your childhood, sometimes God will give you something that you don't know that's going to turn into a ministry later on. And so my most favorite thing was writing when I was young.
Yes, I actually write poetry sometimes. I have a few different poems that I wrote, and I recorded them with some music in the background. And, poetry is kind of an outlet for me, but my outlet is art.
Oh, I love the art too.
I have this thing on my iPad called Procreate, and it just allows you to do digital drawing. You can have these 3D models, and you can color them and paint on them and do all sorts of cool stuff. You can make animations and things like that. So that's my outlet. That's the way that I express myself in things that I might not be able to say because I don't really understand how to say it.
Yes.
I have to put it through art, and I think
it speaks for you, right?
Yes.
And, back in the day, we didn't have all that artistic stuff that we could do. We had to use crayons and, colored pencils to make it happen. But, art that was my favorite subject in school.
Oh, wow.
Art, yes, it was. We have a lot in common. Did you know that? Right?
Yes.
Go on. A woman isn't supposed to sit like that.
Right.
Make noise when she sits. Put it that way.
Silent. So, can you tell me about your mother and how she nurtured you?
My mother was the kindest person that I've ever known. My mom passed away. She's been gone for 22 years now. And the most vivid picture of my mom was always seeing her on her knees. My mom was a prayer warrior. And so when I was, because you're what? How old are you? You're
10.
10 years old. So from the time for as long as I can remember, I just remember her like at 8. And when I was 5, 6, 7, and 8, I would always push the door open and I'd see her in there on her knees talking to God. And I didn't know what she was talking to God about. I didn't even know she was talking to God at that time. But there was something in her face and in her spirit that always resonated to what she was doing behind those closed doors. And so later on, I realized that she was talking to God. And that was my first introduction to there was something more to life than her being and my being. There was a force behind the scenes that was keeping her in times when she was going through the domestic violence, when she was going through hardship, when she was going through pain, when she was going through confusion and the different things that life sometimes brings. She'd always find her peace on her knees. And so that's the biggest thing that I remember about my mom. But also she was an extremely kind woman. She was always giving to everybody. She was always loving and giving to the grandchildren. And so those are some of the characteristics, some of the traits that I took away, because that's why I do what I do with home, because it's what I saw my mom do when I was a little girl.
Be giving and kind. I love that. Those are very important values because, people can want things for themselves, but in order to achieve what you want, you have to start with a life of service. You have to start with wanting to give to others what you have.
That's right. That's right. And it's not always monetary. It's not always things that are tangible, but sometimes people just need a smile. People need a hug. People need someone to just listen. People need someone to just be there and not always, judge what the situation might be. They just may need for you to just be present, in the moment. And so a life of service has always been my life. When I was in high school, I wrote in my memory book that I wanted to teach the handicapped and blind students and our children. And then here it is, years later, what was already in my spirit actually kind of came to fruition through home. And even though I don't teach handicapped and blind, but then when I put it in perspective, I realized that being blind or handicapped is not necessarily a physical disability. Because some people can be blind just by not seeing what their purpose is in life, not seeing the homeless man that's sitting on the corner, or they can be handicapped by, not using their gift, not using their talent, bearing what has been given to them to share with the world, because you do realize that it's not what the world gives to you, it's what you give to the world. that makes you unique, that makes you different, that makes you Bailey, right? And Carolyn, Auntie Carolyn. So, in essence, I'm doing the very thing that was in my heart when I was a teenager.
That's beautiful. Seeing, because, you'll have dreams and you'll say, oh, that dream didn't happen, but it did. Dreams do happen.
That's right.
Maybe just not in the way that you expected. Maybe not in the way that you thought it would.
That's right.
But dreams do come true.
What are some of your dreams?
Some of my dreams, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure. But in terms of what I want to do later in life, I just want to expand what I'm doing now. I want it to be bigger. I want it to be better. Since I'll be older and I'll have more resources and I'll be able to do even more, I want it to be an elevation,
That's great.
But I'm not sure exactly what my dreams are just yet.
Okay, because you're only 10. So
Yeah.
You're still developing that. You're still, things are being exposed in your life. Just like at the time when I was writing at 15, I didn't know I wanted to really be an author, but it transitioned into that. The more I wrote about it, the more I decided, actually it was my husband, when I met him, he actually said, what do you like to do? And I said, well, I like to write poetry. And I was only like 21 years old at the time. And he said, well, let me read some of your poetry. And so I pulled my poetry off this dusty shelf, blew it off, and I allowed him to read some of it. And he said, wow, this is pretty amazing. He said, you need to do something with this. And, that was the first time that I really thought about maybe, someone else might like what I'm reading, because at the time that I was writing, it was just therapeutic for me, And then when he said that, a light bulb came on. And then I realized that, wait, maybe other people will be inspired by the writing, the poetry as well. And he said, and I like your poetry, but I don't even like poetry. And so that gave me an awakening. And that's when I wrote the first book of poetry called Thinking Positive in a Negative World. So sometimes you need a little push. Sometimes you need that exposure, or someone to say, hey, you're good at this, or you're wonderful at that. And then it makes you realize that maybe this is, maybe there is something to this that I need to be doing more of. And that's where it all began, with a little push from my husband.
That's beautiful. Because sometimes, you need that little nudge, like, hey, this is something you could pursue.
That's right.
Yeah, sometimes I even need that little push. Would you like
Make sure that's not too hot for you. No, it's cooled off stuff.
Would you like some more?
Absolutely. Just a smidget. Thank you, Miss Bailey.
You're welcome. This tea is so gonna have to have another cup. So delicious. Tea is my favorite drink.
It is mine too. There we are again. Another thing in common. I like that. And you probably still have enough sugar because mine is still sweet. Or would you like the last cube?
So I want to see if it's sweet.
One more.
No, it's good.
It's good? Perfect.
Because it kind of has like a lot natural sweetness.
It does.
Strawberries and kiwi are very sweet.
Yes. It's
but
really delicious.
It's delicious. I love it.
Okay. Yum.
Yes. So sometimes for me, it's a challenge to get going. How do you develop a strong work ethic?
Well, I'm one of those people that I always want to make the best use of my time. Just like it's only X amount of time in a day, I want to get up and move. I don't want to just be busy with a lot of stuff. I want to make sure that I'm walking in purpose. And there's a difference. Busy sometimes is a lot of stuff that you put in your life. You can always find a ton of things to do. But walking in purpose it's meaning to it. It's something that, I look for opportunities. Just like yesterday, I went to the store, and when I was leaving, I saw this lady sitting on the bus stop, and she had all the bags around her, and she looked so broken, and she had her head hanging down, and all these cars were passing by, and everybody is passing by, including myself. And I kept looking in my rearview mirror, and I said, I got ice cream in the car, I got groceries, and I really need to get home. But something in me said, perhaps she's hungry. Perhaps she just needs someone to stop by and just say hi. Maybe she needs to be noticed. And so for as much as I wanted to just turn that corner and head home, I did a whipped a U-turn and turned back and went up to her and slowed down, put on my hazard lights and stopped on the side of the road. And I said, hi. And so she looked up in this really weary face and she said, hi. And I said, do you need anything? And she said, no, I'm okay. I said, are you absolutely sure? And she said, yeah, I think I'm fine. But something in me still said that she needed something more. And so I said, well, how about this? I said, how about I just give you some lunch money just in case you get hungry later on? So she said, sure. She got up and came to the car, and I asked her name, and she said, my name is Kate. And I said, well, Kate, Miss Kate, I said, what would you like for me to pray for? And she told me that I'm not sure right now. And I said, well, whatever is in your heart, I will pray for that. And so that's what I prayed for. So the whole purpose was that day, she not only got a couple of dollars for some food for her to have some lunch, but she also was noticed. You know, sometimes people need to just be noticed to realize that I matter, because everyone matters. And so that was the purpose of me stopping by to say hello and Miss Kate. And so those are the kind of opportunities that I look for every single day, rather than being tunnel focused. You have to do this for your family, you have to do this for your kids. You know, it's about how you treat and see people that cannot give anything back to you, that you may not ever see again, because you don't know what impact you're making on an individual, you know, that perhaps just need to be simply noticed. So that's what drives me every day, is what I can do to be a blessing in the life of someone else.
That's so important. That's like we were talking about earlier, giving, being of service. That's right. Helping others in a time, and just being selfless, being generous and giving. And just being open, you know, like, I want to help the world. I want to add something to it.
I love that. You know, and if you know, Mother Teresa has a saying, she says that if you can't feed 100 people, feed just one. So it starts with one, and starts with being intentional every single day of looking for opportunities to do something that's not about you. That, you know, you can't, you know, like when you do something for your children or for your parents or whatever, there's a payoff. They come back and they say, thank you, and Bailey is so sweet, and Carolyn is so this. But what about those who can't say that? Those who can't pay you back? Those who, you know, you may not ever see again, but you still have made an impact on that person. And so it's really important to be able to be selfless and to, you know, think of others before sometimes even you think of yourself.
You know, sending around good energy and putting good things out into the world.
That's right. Because what you put out in the world is what you leave in the world.
Right.
When there's no longer a Carolyn Watson, you know, I want to be able to, for my grandchildren or my great-great-grandchildren, even until 1,000 generations, to be able to pick up some material or a book or hear something that I've said. And this is why this is so really cool to me, because I don't know when a grandchild or great-great-grandchild is going to see what I bring to the world and say, you know what? I heard my great-grandmother or my grandmother talk about something that really changed my life, that maybe even when they picked up a book and they read something that I wrote, they said, that's the thing that saved my life. So legacy is very, very important. And you always have to be mindful of what you leave in the world and how you treat other people, because kindness is a gift really that keeps on giving, you know, even well after you've already done it.
Wow. Beautiful.
And I love it that you're thinking about, you know, a life of service too, because this is a part of it. Because what you're allowing us to pour into you, you will pour into other young people your age. You know, sometimes they may not want to listen to us because we might seem old and outdated, but you can bring it in a way that's fresh and that's young and that they can relate to.
I have a quote in my book. It says, I can sing an old song with my new voice.
I love it.
That perfectly captures what she just
said. Yes, it does. Where do you get the quotes from?
It's in my book, In the Wind. You know, I wrote it.
I have to guess that.
Yes, I wrote it when I'm with my family, with my parents when I was, we started writing it when I was 5. It came out when I was 6.
5 years old?
Yeah.
My goodness.
of course, with much help.
Yes.
Because I can't do it alone.
Absolutely.
The man is an island, but no woman is an no girl. No girl is an island. But it was just tons and tons of conversations. I have 100 quotes in the book, but we had almost 300 affirmations.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
We have a lot.
Here we go again. The book that's coming out, it's a forever devotional, but it's a combination of poetry, of quotes, and of real life stories that I tell in the book. So there's more quotes and affirmations than anything in the book. But yeah,
I might need to get that.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get a copy. How about that?
That sounds wonderful, and I'll make sure you get a copy of mine.
Perfect.
How about that? This is wonderful.
Let's stick to that.
And so do that, yes. Now, can you tell me about some of the films or television shows that you enjoyed while growing up?
Ooh. Well, it depends on how young, because I used to love to watch cartoons and like Bugs Bunny and, cartoons like that. And let's see, what was probably my all-time favorite show? Let me think, because I liked, probably I Dream of Jeannie. You probably haven't ever heard of that, but it was a genie that always kind of, she was always making stuff happen, and she wore this little genie outfit, and when she got in trouble, they put her in the bottle, and when she was ready to, to do the right thing, she'd come out this bottle. But she'd always make things happen, and that kind of resonates with me, because I'm always trying to make things happen in my life. I'm not far from a genie and don't want to be a genie, because I'm a real life person, but I am one of those people that always look for opportunities to make it happen. And that kind of speaks to home and how home began, because I watched my mom. When my mom unfortunately had to leave my dad, I was 9 years old. And I kind of looked like you. You remind me of me, the way you look, and because she kept me all put together and poised and all of that. And so when she left my dad, I remember we had to start all over. She left with 2 suitcases and 2 little girls, and she started life all over with nothing. And so that really stayed in my heart, because I watched her try to struggle to start life over again. Little did I know that was going to be something that was stuck in the crevice of my heart. And so many years later, fast forward after my mom had gone, after I was a grown up, and that's where home was birthed, from me watching her go through all of the changes she went through to try to start life over again. And when I left my job and wanted something more fulfilling in my life, I went out to the lake for 30 days, and I prayed, and I didn't eat. I just ate minimal, but it was on a fast. And I just sought the Lord for what he would have me to do. And that's how home was born. And so home is designed to be able to assist single mothers who are coming out of divorce, domestic abuse, incarceration, and trying to get reunification with their children, or are coming in the city because they're fleeing from some bad situation. They take their kids and they run. So what was placed in my heart was to help them, to give them, to lend a hand, give them a hand up, so that they don't have to choose food over furniture month after month after month, because furniture is expensive. And so many of the moms that I see, they're sleeping on the floor with their children. They don't have a dinette set to sit around like we were sitting around the table. They don't have chairs. They don't have a television. They don't have anything. And so prior to the pandemic, we used to go in and we used to decorate 12 homes a month. That was a lot. That was a lot of work. So we decorate from hanging curtains to making beds and young children. We go into the bedroom and they're so excited to now they have a bed to sleep on rather than a pallet on the floor. So that was my passion. And the reason that I had that passion is because my mom was the very mom that was in that situation and there was no home. So I created something that would be impactful to our community. And so home serves about 10 metro Atlanta areas. And now with the pandemic, we were able to go beyond that. So now we have people from Savannah and Columbus, Georgia, and all over Georgia that's coming to pick up their furniture now. Before the pandemic, we were just doing the local area. Now we get a chance. And so sometimes things seem bad, like when the pandemic started, it seemed like that was terrible, and it was terrible. But it also gave us another opportunity to bring change and to make something else happen. And so that's kind of how home was born.
And there's always a good side. There's always an upside to things. There's always something there. Was it silver lining?
Still out. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Silver lining.
Yeah. Yes. And you could always create something good out of a bad situation. Yeah. You can either wallow in the bad, or you can say, you know what? This is an opportunity to do something good. And that's what we did for Home.
Yes. And it is a beautiful organization.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful that something like that exists for those who can't do that themselves.
That's right. Well, that's kind of how it happens. Sometimes it's about not what you've experienced, but what you watch someone else experience. And it makes me so proud, because every time we take furniture into a mom's home, it's like we're serving my own mom. And I don't take any furniture that is like all beat up, and even though the furniture is gently used, but if I won't bring it in my home, I won't put it in the home of another mom, because I want them and their children to live with dignity and respect too. Right?
Just because they're not in a privileged position doesn't mean that they can't live well.
Exactly. And so we bring them the best of the best. And so,
yeah. Cool. Yeah. How can I be like you when I grow up?
Well, you know what? Don't ever want to be like someone else, because you're unique all by yourself. You know what I mean? So if you're like me, then you can't be like you, and you can't receive the blessings that's already meant for you. Nobody can be Bailey better than Bailey. But if you're going to, aspire to be like someone, aspire to be like the mom, because that's where you came from. That's your DNA. And I know you have a lovely mom and a lovely dad, because you're so amazing. Can I say that again?
Yes.
You're so amazing, and you're so refreshing. And so I would love to see, I would love to see a lot of little Baileys running around, but no, because you're unique. But I would love to see how you inspire other young people, because that's kind of where it starts. It starts right here. And it starts with young people like you, who's willing to show other ladies that it's okay to be poised. It's okay to have charisma. It's okay to be beautiful in and of yourself. You know what I mean? And so I think you bring something out in today's society that we're missing, because a lot of, girls and teenagers and young adults, they feel like, okay, I have to show this, and I have to act this way. have to be like everybody else. But what you show is that it's okay to be unique. Matter of fact, it's way cool to be you, because nobody can be you but you. But when you get into a situation where you're always trying to be like this girl and look like this girl and act like this girl, when I was little, I didn't have that kind of confidence. And so when I used to come home from school, like in the 2nd grade, my sisters used to say, okay, Carolyn, who are you trying to act like today? Because I'd come home chewing like somebody and walking like somebody, and and I say that jokingly, because remember I told you I used to like to watch people, but then when I get home, I'd always act it out. That's why I have a little acting in my spirit. But I say that to say it was okay. It's okay to be who you are. You're more than enough. You are beautiful just the way God made you. And the more we see ourselves as beautiful and unique and powerful and strong and have something wonderful to offer the world, the less we'll try to be like other people and act like other people and walk like other people.
Because we'll embrace ourselves for who we are.
That's right.
And that's what we'll appreciate.
That's right. That's right. Because really, when you think about it, at the end of the day, who can you really be like other than you? You could...
you can try to be like them, but you can't be them.
That's right.
You can't be whoever they are. You can only be yourself, and they can't be you either.
That's right. And you can try, you can try to dance like Beyonce or sing like Beyonce, but are you really Beyonce?
No. No.
There's only one, right?
And that's okay, because I can be Bailey, and
That's right.
Mrs. Watson.
That's right.
And that's okay.
And we have to love the skin we're in. Have to love the skin we're in. So.
What was your personal and professional journey and your roadmap to success?
Well, I'm still on that roadmap. You know, I'm still on that journey. The story is still being written. But I love where I am at this season in my life because I've experienced a lot. I've experienced what it's like to be a child. I've experienced what it's like to struggle with being a teenager. I've experienced what it's like to be an adult. I've experienced what it's like to be a mother and a grandmother. I've experienced what it's like to be a wife. I've experienced what it's like to be a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. And so when I look back over my life, my journey has been very fruitful and it's been uniquely me. And so I have to say that my roadmap to success was just having faith in God and believing that I can achieve whatever I put my mind to do. I'm one of those kind of people that if I think that this is what I'm called to do, my husband say, I inspire him. He said, because I complete everything that I start. But how I see that is that we're on this journey, right? And then, you have a chance to pick up nuggets along the way, but you also have a chance to plant along the way, and water along the way. And so in my life, I've had the opportunity to pick up like we're doing right now, we're sharing right now, but I've also had the opportunity to take what I've learned and share it with others. And so I get excited about that because what you leave and deposit in the hearts of other people, sometimes they'll never forget. Sometimes that'll change their life forever. And so, my journey to success is still, I'm still on my way. I'm still getting there. And so, if the good Lord calls me home right now, I'm okay because I believe that a lot of the things that I've felt, a lot of the things that I've experienced, even the hardship, even the hard times, I was able to write about it. And so those things are in a book. Those things are on, film and television. And, I've had a chance to be an actress and, so, I've done stage plays and things of that nature. And so I've really had I've gotten a chance to do a lot of the things that my heart desires. And so that's kind of all we want is to be able to accomplish those things that your heart desires, right?
Right. And I love the thing that you said about picking up the nuggets and then planting, because like you said, that's what we're doing right now. I'm picking up nuggets and you're planting inside of me.
There you
and
go.
That allows me to get things that I can then impart on my peers and that I can give to other kids.
That is right. And then many of the things that I'm sharing with you right now, Mom and Dad has already said to you. And so some of the things I'm not planting, I'm only watering. And then God will send the increase and then you can, fully understand it. And then really when you share it, because you're sharing it now from a 10-year-old perspective, when you're 15 and 20 and 25, wow, you're going to be amazing.
Thank you.
I say, oh, that's my baby Bailey I see on television.
My mentors are successful and their advice is valuable. Thank you so much, Auntie Carolyn. This was a wonderful conversation. I had an amazing time.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much, right? There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Have a blessed day, sweetheart.
You as well.
Love the great work.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, goodness.